I was paying out over $33,000 a month in rent. And when all of your bookings go away overnight and like you're just kind of stuck holding a $33,000 bill that's due on the first of the month for all the rents, you get creative, but you also freak out a little bit. And if it wasn't for pivoting quickly, then I would have gone bankrupt. Like there's no way around it.
That's a huge topic I want to talk about too, is just marketing in general and then creating like your branding. It all starts, I think, with your self image. And Ian and I talk about this a lot is how do you view yourself? For those that are listening that are trying to figure out their branding, what advice do you have for them?
Don't build your whole business on someone else's platform.
What's going on, STR Nation? This is your host and brother from another mother, Emmanuel Pani, here with the man himself, Mr. Mike Riley. What's going on, Riles?
I took my kids to the pool yesterday and had a good time swimming basically in a hot tub. And then when I got out and started packing up as we were going to leave, I was just drenched in sweat. And this is abnormal for North Carolina in June. Like typically it's not that hot in June, but it's just brutal right now. But at the same time, too, co-hosting leads are hot as well. So been working on a few, got in the hopper that will take over after the summer. So what's new with you, man? Besides dodging some flies or bugs in Italy?
Helicopter looking thing. So if you watch this on YouTube, you'll see me in this intro, kind of Mike Tyson bopping and weaving a huge mosquito that just tried to take my life. But it is 9:40 p.m. Italian time, and so I am just sitting out here. And my grandparents got moved here yesterday, and so it's been fascinating because the last 2 weeks, as I mentioned to you guys last time, I've been in a state of relaxation where I just had to worry about myself, and I got to do all the things that I love without really having to answer to anybody. And now I have a 97-year-old and a 95-year-old at the house. And for those of you that have kids, this is how I assume living with kids is. It's the same exact thing, but in reverse. So helping them with diaper changes and helping them with and it's weird to take care of your grandparents like that, right? Like it's this cycle of life, this very poetic cycle of life where I know they took care of me and changed my diapers when I was a baby. And yet, would you ever expect to change your grandparents' diaper? Like I went to the grocery store yesterday and I realized that I have been buying my grandparents' diaper before I have my own kids and I buy my own kids' diapers. So it's a kind of a weird kind of thing going on. And at the same time, I don't know, it's just lovely, right? Like it's just the moment. And I kiss my grandpa in the morning. I'm like, "You're so beautiful," and he just laughs, right? And it's such a I don't know. It's like the sound of a child that laughs, right? It's like this like heart feeling and just warming kind of moment. Um, it makes me very grateful and also makes me really cherish my health already, right? Really think about, hey, if I have this in me, considering that this is my lineage, how do I get to 97? Still being able to walk around, still being able to move my body, still being in sound mind. Like my grandpa took me on a spin today and talked about red and white flowers for 45 minutes and it made no sense, right? I'm like, how do I prevent that from being the case for myself and my own grandkids, right? Um, so yeah, that's been my life, but I'm very, very grateful. My girlfriend and her son get to come next week, so I'm really looking
Nice.
forward to that being here and getting to share the island that I love with the people that I love. You know, that's always a special thing. Um, and I do hope eventually we'll do a ballroom Italy event. I think that'll be fantastic. But
Did I
talking
did I hear you may have found a hotel out there?
So I've been looking for a hotel. I found two that are interesting. I have very specific desires for it. And so right now, one of the biggest things that I'm doing, so if anybody listening is also looking at a hotel, one of the biggest things that I'm doing now is just really getting familiarized with what the product is out there and really understanding like, who are the top producers and who is doing well and what do they do well and what do they have and what about everything else, and seeing if in the negative reviews I can see the signs of a poorly managed hotel, a poorly managed property. And I found two and I drove by one today. And that's the biggest thing is just like start going out there, start taking a look at it, and you'll start seeing it, right? Especially now, July in Italy, almost end of June, early July in Italy, it should be pretty packed, and the big hotels are packed. And so that's when you start kind of seeing your opportunity in terms of like finding things. So I'm excited for that because that's part of the long-term vision. Um, and just more of what I love doing with the people that I love doing it with. So it's exciting. And our show today, I had a blast. It was probably one of the longest show we've run in a little while, just because I generally got distracted enjoying the conversation. But we had Amanda, the traveling realtor, on the show. And I've had the pleasure of knowing Amanda now for a couple of years. We met in person at Jody's event up in Denver. And dude, Amanda's built an amazing life. Um, she has property in the Riley area. She has a huge EXP team where she sells. She helps family with relocation. She teaches people about midterm rentals, and she loves health and travel, which, as you guys know, it's a big part of my life. And so it was such an enjoyable conversation. What was your favorite part, Riley? Like, what did you enjoy the most?
We talked about this a lot too, but it was really about the brand that she's built and the identity that she has. And I think for all of us that are building real estate businesses, whether it's hotels or co-hosting or buying a portfolio, you know, you need to be known as like a man of the traveling realtor, or, you know, in my network, I'm known as like the Airbnb guy. You know, you need to be known as that in your network if you want to grow your business. And it's not in a way of like, you know, I know everything about Airbnbs. It's, you know, just you known if somebody wants to ask me a question about short-term rentals or Airbnbs, like they can come to me, right? So think about that for you and your business. What do you want to be known as? You know, for Amanda now, it's like more about the wellness side, and she really enjoys that wellness side and wants to build a wellness retreat, and so if you're listening to this and you're struggling to grow your business, or maybe you hit a standstill, or maybe you're just like, hey, I want to take it to the next level, I've done well, really think about your brand and your network and what you want to be known as. One other thing, I went to a funeral this week for a buddy's granddad, and he was known as the insurance guy in the area, but also as a guy that was just always wanted to hear and listen to people, and just always interested, and was always giving compliments before giving like constructive feedback as well. Like that's what everybody knew him as. So like, what's your identity that you want to be known as? And it could be anything. That's the other thing too. It literally could be anything. Whatever your niche is, whatever you want to be known as, just start being that now, and good things will happen. And it's not only your income will probably go up, but you know, your friend group will probably change a little bit. Your business will probably change a little bit, and that may be scary, but also that's okay too.
What a lovely legacy to leave behind.
It was pretty cool, man.
Right?
I think about that. I wouldn't say a lot, but like, what are people going to say at your funeral? You know, because it could be
Yeah,
next week.
golf swing though. That's one of
Yeah, there we go. Like the dude had a smooth swing. I was talking to Isaac earlier today, and he was like, you're always steady. Like you're just like that steady, calm guy." And then in college, my coach called me Steady Eddie, because like I was just kind of that steady guy who didn't really miss that much, but also didn't do anything crazy. So
yeah.
I guess
There you
Steady Eddie's maybe I should be that. I'd change my handle. I just changed my Instagram handle, guys, to Steady Eddie. So at Steady Eddie, if you want to follow me.
Actually, guys, if you have anybody that you guys listen to or you follow that you think would be a great interview for us on the show, do reach out to Study Edit and myself. We would love to hear who you guys want us to interview, because as you know, we do it a little bit different. So even if you heard him somewhere else or heard her somewhere else, but you would like us to talk to them, we would love your suggestions. As we're always looking to bring inspiring people and just having fun and challenging conversations, really. And so, having said that, without further ado, we welcome Amanda, the traveling realtor, to the show. Hey, Amanda, how are you?
Hello, I'm doing great. Good to see you again.
You too. I'm so excited that you're finally here. We've been trying to get this show going for quite a while. But for those that somehow don't know you, even though you're everywhere, can I give them a little elevator pitch of who is Amanda, the traveling realtor?
Sure. So yeah, I guess I personally branded myself back in 2017 as the traveling realtor. I didn't really know how I was going to become the traveling realtor, but I quickly figured that out with some trial and error. And a lot of short term, I was doing long term rentals. I've done a lot in the investing space. And then I started doing short term rentals in 2018. And now I am fully doing midterm rentals. So that's monthly stays. And we started that in 2020. And so I own Carolina Furnished Rentals, which is a furnished rental company in Raleigh, North Carolina. We have about 25 properties. I have a pretty large organization with eXp Realty. So I refer deals everywhere, all over the world, actually, a few hundred agents there. And I help other short term rental hosts transition those into midterm rentals. And what I'm most passionate about is the wellness side of my business. So I host short term rental wellness retreats, meaning it's for all the burnt out short term rental hosts that need just to take a breath. And that's where we connected in person for the first time. Just a few months ago, we actually hosted a wellness event together, which was fabulous. And so here we are.
It's amazing. So, how much does a traveling realtor actually get to travel? So, how often are you in the Carolinas? What's the home base for you now? Do you even have a home base, or are you just fully remote and you just get to explore where your soul takes you right now?
Well, I've been to 52 countries, so I travel quite a bit. I've been living in Cabo San Lucas, Mexico for the last 4.5 years up until January of this year. And I decided to come check out Austin, Texas. And I absolutely love it. And I've actually planted roots for the first time in a very long time here in Austin. And I've committed to being here for 15 months. And hey, who knows what's going to happen? I have some manifestation going out right now to see what I can manifest here in Austin. And I think I might stay a while. I really like it.
So, for those that are listening, they're like, "Oh, that sounds awesome. Lived in Mexico for a bunch of time. Now you go to Austin. What makes you choose a place? Is it based on the business? Is it based on what you like to do? Like, what helps you choose a place, and how do you establish roots? Like, what does that mean for you?"
Yeah, I think places choose me. Um, when I went to Mexico, I went on a vacation. I used to travel with a group of investors, and we used to travel like 3 to 4 times a year for a week at a time. And we would just go mastermind. It was a business write off. And so after COVID hit, they were like, "Hey, you want to go to Cabo? Let's go mastermind." And I'm like, "Yes." And so I went, and it was supposed to be a 3 week stay. And I ended up staying for 6 months, like not going home. And so, that was Cabo, and then we started doing a 6-month lease, 6-month lease, and I'm like, "Okay, it's been 4.5 years that I've been living in Mexico." Like, that wasn't the plan. I didn't say, "I'm gonna move to Mexico." I honestly never thought I would live in Mexico, but being there was just it was just great. I mean, there was a little community there, and, honestly, I needed the time to heal. I was going through my own health challenges. My dad had passed away the year before, and I just needed to take care of me for a little bit. So Cabo for me was like my healing place. And as far as Austin goes, I actually have a lot of reasons for Austin. So I started dating a guy who lived here, and that was kind of the first thing of me coming back and forth to Austin. And then I started figuring out like, okay, I have a lot of communities here in Austin. I have my Tony Robbins Platinum community of people, and they meet every month for lunch, which is amazing. And then I'm part of Go Abundance Women, which is a mastermind group for women. And so there's a large group of them, and we like do all kinds of fun stuff here. Like we play poker, we do all kinds of stuff. And then there is the biohacking community, which is like I'm in Wimberley right now, an hour outside of Austin. Dave Asprey and his girlfriend Christina Weber are having a retreat this weekend, and there's like 35 of us that are going to spend the weekend with them and like mastermind our love life. It's just really cool communities. Not even to mention the entire short-term rental community. So, Vivian Yip, Daya, Blake, and Jeremy, and Sean McGregor, and like all of these people, they all live in Austin. So it was just like I literally have like 5 different groups and EXP Realty. I have a huge group of EXP agents in Austin too. So for me, I was like, this is a no-brainer for me. Like it did take my love life out of it. This is 100% no-brainer because I have so many different communities to plug into and opportunities. Now that I look back on my life, I was like, I was literally hiding like under a shell on the beach in Cabo and just being by myself and like, being inward. And now I'm like, oh my gosh, there's like 2 events on my calendar every night. Which one do I want to go to? And I haven't had that in a long time.
Well, we'll have to connect you with Joel Weigel, who's in our boardroom, but also just is developing a boutique resort, micro resort. It's I think it's like maybe 8 or 10 units now, but it's gonna be like 50. So he's developing that. It's near Austin. I don't know how close, but I'll have to connect you with him and add to the tribes there. But what did your business look like? You got Carolina, furnished rentals, and you moved to Mexico. Now you're in Texas. What did your business look like when you decided to move, and how did you? I feel like a lot of people have a fear of like, I need to set up a business and I need to be there. I need to be local. How did you get over that challenge and that limiting belief as well?
Well, when we set up the business, I was local. So we had 15 properties when we went to Mexico, and they were all on Airbnb. Every single one of them, we were straight up short-term rental business. And then, COVID hit. And so we were with Guesty. So we did have our Guesty website. And that was fine. I didn't send anyone to the direct booking website, like, ever. And then when COVID hit, obviously, y'all know what happened with all of the reservations canceling. And so I ended up, doing a crazy marketing campaign, "Come quarantine with us" type of thing. And I ended up getting full with, like, actually people who wanted to come and stay for, like, 8 months. And so that happened, and then we gradually started doing more of those, and then those people started wanting to buy houses from us and move to the area. And so that's when the whole like, "Oh my gosh, we are like relocation specialists for Raleigh." And so that's when that happened. And then in 2021, when Airbnb kicked me off, and I had like maybe 15 or 16 properties. We didn't really grow too much between 2020 and 2021 because we were like, what just happened? Right. Um, so in 2021, Airbnb kicked me off, and I knew I had to, go direct booking. And so we had already built our another website, not the Guesty website, thankfully. So we built a really nice WordPress website, and I just went full force on marketing midterm rentals. And so since 2021, when that happened, when we had our website go full force. We've now increased our properties. We're at about 25 properties right now, and that's a mixture. So we used to only I owned them, or we did rental arbitrage on them. And then in the last few years, we started having some of those rental arbitrage owners come to us and be like, "Y'all are making a lot of money. Like, can we get in on this?" And so for a few of them, we actually sold the homeowner the furniture. And then we were like, okay, fine. Like, we'll still market, manage, we'll do everything that we're already doing, but we're not going to be in the lease with you anymore. We're going to sell you our furniture. And then we'll just take a 20% fee off the top. And that's what we did with a few of them. And then that started getting around. And so then people started coming to us and they were like, well, can we buy a property and then you guys like just handle it, like set it up, manage it, do the whole thing? And we're like, yeah, I mean, I own a real estate brokerage, so sure, we could do that. And so now we're kind of doing that too. And that's how we're growing our portfolio.
That's amazing. So you mentioned Airbnb kicked you off. I've heard some stories. I haven't heard yours, but I've heard some stories. Airbnb will kick you off for anything. What happened to you?
Yeah. So they wouldn't tell me. I was kicked off for
Mhm.
2 years, and literally for like 8 months, I was calling 3 days a week. And the answer I would get is, we'll have someone from the higher ups call you in 36 hours. And no one ever called me back. And so I just kind of gave up after like 8 months, 10 months. I was like, whatever, I'm just not going to get it back. And so we had already put everything into my business partner's account and everything was fine. But being part of Tony Robbins' mastermind community, I was a platinum partner for a year. So in 2023, I was like front row at Business Mastery. And he had Joe, Brian's business partner, who founded Airbnb, there on stage talking about how they founded Airbnb. And so as a platinum partner, I'm like, I'm going backstage. And so as soon as Joe got off, I flew backstage and I was just like, this is what's going on. Da, da, da. And of course, like that's not his problem, right? But he gave me his email address. Of course, he never emailed me back, but I was the squeaky wheel and I continued to email him for 3 weeks, like every other day, like bumping this to the top. And finally, I think he just forwarded that to someone, and someone shot me an email and said, I'm so sorry about your account. You'll have your account back in 24 hours. The reason is you added a co-host as because it was my cleaner that I added to the account so he could see the check-ins, checkouts. You added a co-host that had a felony on his books, and the felony I found out was from 20 years ago. And they just decided to completely shut down my account, not tell me, "Oh, you can't have this person on your account." So that's what happened.
What were some of the takeaways and learning lessons? Because I'm sure at that time, I mean, you were all on Airbnb. Uh, your business went from thriving and doing really well to overnight taken away. What were some of your lessons there?
Yeah, don't build your whole business on someone else's platform. I mean, for me, I literally just felt like someone yanked the rug out from underneath me because when that happened, we had the 15 properties. We had a like 4.86 star. We were super host on Airbnb. Like, there was no reason for us to get kicked off of Airbnb. And it really affected me, honestly, like, because I was like, what did I do wrong? Especially because they wouldn't tell me. I'm like, what did I do? Like, I think I did something wrong. And at the time, I had a course out already. I'm like, how I'm out here teaching Airbnb. Um, so yeah, I don't know. It was an experience. It was a lot to get through. And my learning lessons really came from, oh man, I think just being in control of your business. I think that's the biggest thing, and owning your business, because those 15 properties, we only own 4 of them. The other 11 were arbitrage. So I was paying out over $33,000 a month in rent. And when all of your bookings go away overnight and like you're just kind of stuck holding a $33,000 bill that's due on the first of the month for all the rents, you get creative, but you also freak out a little bit. And if it wasn't for pivoting quickly, then I would have gone bankrupt. Like there's no way around it, right? I would have lost all the properties. I only had a couple months to float that $33,000 bill.
That's why I always feel, and this is my truth, and I'm sure Rakovich, if he ever decides to come on the show, he's been invited multiple times. It's canceled. If you want, giving you shit, absolutely.
I'll give him shit for you too.
Yeah, please. That is my only issue with arbitrage, right? It's a means to an end. But when those moments come for me, the exposure is never worth the actual thing. You now get to help a lot of people kind of switch from STRs to MTR. So give us some of the reason that you see people doing that, and what is the best way if we have somebody listening it's like, actually this sounds good, Amanda, I also want to switch mine. What are some of the main ways that the business changes between short-term rentals and midterm rentals?
Well, the biggest thing is your clientele. I mean, it's completely different. You know, you're going from nightly stays, worrying about parties and sneaking in dogs and just all the things, to actually having more of a corporate style stay. So they're staying for a few months at a time. Maybe they could be insurance claims, whatever it is, but they are, in my opinion, in my experience, when I am dealing with my relocation clients, it's just a much higher end clientele. All of my properties start at 4,000, not all of them, but my cheapest property starts at 4,000 a month. And then I go all the way up to 10,000 a month. So my properties, like, they're higher than most. If you're looking at other, midterm rentals in Raleigh, you're going to find some cheaper, but they're not going to be as nice or have the best management on that property. So I think the biggest thing is, number one, your clientele is better. Number two, the work that goes into it is just way less. just because you have less people. If you have 4 people per every 3 months checking into your property, that's four families that you're hosting a year. Versus if you're on Airbnb and you have, I don't know, 8 to 10 per month checking in, then you're hosting over 100 people. That's 100 check-ins, 100 checkouts, 100, where's the Wi-Fi code, 100, how do you work the TV, right? So that is all the stuff. And yes, we can set up automations and bots and all that stuff for, all of that now. But it's just a huge time saver. And your occupancy goes through the roof. So it's, you're on Airbnb and you might be lucky if you're at 70%, 75%. With what I've experienced with midterm rentals, I'm up in the 90%. So a lot of my properties are like 95% because I've got these people in for 6 months, 8 months. There's not a day of vacancy. And so that's just some of the benefits to it.
Yeah, I love it. You mentioned bots, and Riley and I have been talking quite a bit about AI recently. And I know in some of the stuff that you help and teach people, you actually leverage quite a bit of AI. And just to stay on the AI team for all of you listening, what are some of the ways that you're supporting your clients with AI that maybe people don't know about, or just your tricks from using it for so long now?
I'll tell you my biggest trick. So, using ChatGPT is great, right? But building a custom chat bot for you and your brand and your business is next level. So, I've built one for my business. I named her Caroline. She knows everything about my business, our mission, vision, values, keywords to use, all of the things. She has a document for each one of my properties with all of the details, the amenities, the booking links, everything. And so now, whether it's me or my assistant that's going in and creating the content for all of our social accounts and all of that, everything is correct. So I could go in and I could say, Caroline, write me a marketing piece for Instagram for 110 Mint Hill Drive. And da 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 da, and she's going to come up with everything for that. And it's all going to be correct. And then there's other, yeah. So that's the biggest thing is just like to use something like that for marketing. I teach my students how to do that, but I also do it with them. And then just to support that, because yeah, you can go in and build one, but it's what are the custom instructions that you're giving it? That's the important part. So I've actually built some other GPTs that my students use that then spits out the custom instructions for them to go build their custom GPT. And that has been like a game changer. And now I'm loving building these custom GPTs and giving them to my students and then giving them the prompts to put into them and just watching their minds being blown. It's so much fun.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So when you say building a custom GPT, so somebody is like, oh, I have Chat GPT, right? I'm gonna go on there, I'm gonna do the same thing. Where do they start? Is that a project? Is that where do they go? And like what are some of the things that like you tell your people, it doesn't matter what else you do, but you absolutely must do this in order for this custom GPT to be as effective and as efficient as it can be?
Okay, so you've got to have a paid GPT account. So it's $20 a month. It's the best $20 a month you will ever spend. So when you have a paid account, then over on the left-hand side, it's going to say, I think it says My GPTs, or it might just say Explore GPTs or something like that. You click on that, and then it's going to come up with a search bar. And you can literally type in anything. You can type in Airbnb into that search bar, and somebody has created a GPT on how to respond to your reviews on Airbnb, like all these different, how to rewrite your listing description on Airbnb. And then you literally can just click on someone else's GPT that they built for that intended purpose and start chatting with that and say, okay, this is my description. How do you make this better to show up better on Airbnb? This is my clientele. And it will literally do that. And you could use someone else's GPTs as long as they're open to the public. I don't make any of mine open to the public, at least right now. I'm thinking about doing that. But Right now, mine are all private. So when you build a custom GPT, you can build it private, meaning only you can see it. You can build it where it's private, but people who you share the link with can see it. Or you can make it public, meaning that when you go into that search bar, everyone can see it. So that's what you do with the GPTs.
That's awesome. The other huge thing that I've always loved about you and your business is the idea of being an agent that specializes in relocating families. Because in a way, you're creating multiple streams of income from a single client, right? Because you get the income from the property, you get the income from them selling, and then the long-term income of them eventually maybe upgrading their home, or maybe they relocate elsewhere and you get to resell it. So if we have any listeners that are in the real estate space, either realtors or brokers, where does one find relocation clients? Like, how does one market herself or himself as a relocation realtor?
Yeah. So what's worked for me is I just do direct contact to other agents and brokers. I'm super lucky because I'm with EXP Realty. I've been there. I've been with them for 8 years, and so I run a lot of like internal stuff for short-term rentals and midterm rentals and like all those things. But we have an internal program that I can literally just like send messages out to all these agents and let them know what we're doing. So that's really worked for me. You could do it if you don't have something like that with your brokerage. You could do it through Instagram or LinkedIn or Facebook or whatnot. There's systems out there now that you can plug into, and you can actually have like a bot send messages, a few messages a day. You can't like blow them up, but you could totally do that and just get the word out. And, yeah, I do a lot of marketing though. So a lot of people are finding us through Google.
Yeah.
Love
I
that.
think that's a huge topic I want to talk about too, is just marketing in general, and then creating like your branding and it all starts, I think, with your self-image. And E and I talk about this a lot, is how do you view yourself? And I love that you've got Amanda the Traveling Realtor pretty much everywhere, right? You've got it here on the screen, you've got it on your Instagram. That's like your self-image, but then that's what people know you as well. That's your branding. For those that are listening that are trying to figure out their branding, what advice do you have for them?
Man, just pick something and be so consistent with it across all of your platforms. Honestly, like if I'm at a networking event where your name tag goes, what am I writing? I'm writing Amanda the Traveling Realtor, and I'm doing my Instagram handle, right? On everything that I do, it's my Instagram handle. Um that's a huge tip. If I'm at events, I'm always taking pictures and videos of whoever is speaking, and I'm giving them a shout out. And then I tag myself on that post, on that story, because they are going to reshare that to their audience. And yeah, you could see like that they reshared me up at the very top. But what's really important is I actually have my Instagram handle there on there as well for all of their audience to see. So that's one way. I've got like, I don't know, 21,000 or something on Instagram now. I've literally built that from going to events, doing that kind of stuff, writing my Instagram handle everywhere I go. I go some places and they're just like, "Oh, you're the traveling realtor girl." They don't even know my name or my last name. No one knows my last name. It's Williams, by the way. But
Well,
um
I had to check twice as in the on your intake form because I'm like, Amanda, I know the traveling realtor. I'm like, I'm sure she has a last name, right? I'm sure she hasn't swap out the traveling realtor for her last name, right? So I know it has to be there somewhere.
yeah, yeah, and I think when you're branding too, do something that is, people are going to ask you about it. The traveling realtor, how are you a realtor and you're traveling? That doesn't make any sense. Yeah,
Mhm.
most realtors are stuck in an office or stuck driving people around. So be creative with that when you're branding yourself. Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing.
Yeah, Mike was the Airbnb guy for a while. I think he was like the first guy to really coin that. And now he's doing hotels, so he's like, "Oh, I'm not really the Airbnb guy anymore." Um, but is really focused. Maybe he's the hotel guy now. It's big on Twitter too. I've seen like there's a lot of anonymous accounts on Twitter. Uh, like the strip mall guy, the car dealership guy, but it's all about like their brand, and they just share industry trends and topics. And I find that a lot of people just struggle to figure out what that niche is, like what they want to focus on and talk about. Do you have any tips or anything that you teach to your clients of like, this is what your niche should be? In Airbnb, it's like, all right, you want to be pet friendly, or maybe you want like a bachelorette themed property. But what are your thoughts on trying to figure out what that brand is for you?
So I actually coach a lot of my agents about this, and not necessarily about like their rental portfolios, but just like who they are online and who they want to talk to. So I think it's really important. Like if you're an agent, I was just helping one of our agents. He moved from New York to Austin. And I'm like, you have to brand yourself. Like you moved here, you had this crazy experience, you ended up buying a house, you got your license because of that, and now you want to help people. And and he's also, his name is Al, so it's like Ace Agent Al, right? And so he's now come up with mm, this whole branding blueprint, I would say, that I gave to him, where it's like you want to speak to people who are moving to Texas from New York and call them out. Like I do that with all of my posts for if I'm marketing to California or New Jersey or New York, which are all my feeder states, I am literally like talking directly to them. Like, are you a Jersey girl who's looking to move to the Carolinas? Like that kind of stuff. And that's like if someone sees that, they're gonna be like, yeah, I am. Click. So I think
Stay there.
yeah.
Just kidding. Sorry.
Yeah, right.
I'm just kidding.
But yeah, I think that's important. As far as like niching out, that's really going to depend on where your properties are, who you're targeting, what kind of properties do you have? Like, do you have condos? Do you have big houses? Do you have fenced in yards? Like, who are you targeting? And then once you get super clear on who that is, on who that avatar is, which by the way, ChatGPT can really help you with that, with like niching down who your ideal avatar is. Then you start writing all of your marketing material to attract that particular avatar. But yeah, I mean, I say as far as your branding, just pick something that it's you. It's authentically you. Like I've always been a traveler, always. I started traveling at 16 years old. I went to the Bahamas by myself at 16 years old. Like it's I don't even know how my parents let me do that. But yeah, I've just always been a traveler, so it fit me perfectly.
I love that. That's
I
great advice.
Yeah, and I just partnered. Let me tell you a fun story about that, actually. So, I was speaking at an event here in Austin, and at the end of the event, one of the ladies walks up to me and she's like, "You're the traveling realtor? Well, I'm the abundant traveler." And this was an EXP event. And she's also an EXP agent. And I'm like, "Yeah." And so then, like, I don't know, a week later, she contacts me and she's like, "I think we need to do a trip together. Would you like to go do an influencer stay at a ranch in Wyoming?" And I'm like, "Yes." And so we just got back from Wyoming. We went to a dude ranch in Wyoming. She does YouTube. She has a big YouTube following for the Abundant Traveler. I have my Instagram. I have all this stuff for the Traveling Realtor. And so just having that brand got me a Wyoming dude ranch for free to just go like film some videos and say, "Hey, come to this cool dude ranch." So yeah, brand yourself into something that you really love.
I love that. And my next question kind of goes right into that. Because when I think about you now, over the years that I've known you, the real estate has been a constant. And then over time, your focus and attention towards health and well-being is something that like you have continuously kind of inserted more and more of. And it's something that I do a lot too. Like I love, and you and I have connected a lot on that. I love my mindset side of myself, and I love my real estate side of myself, and I love my workouts. Like I am obsessed with like working out and eating certain kinds of way. And I think people sometimes think, oh, I need to differentiate those two things. My truth of it is that's who I am, right? All of those parts are me. I'm obsessed with hospitality. I'm obsessed with real estate. I love traveling. I love mindset. I love living the way that I do. And so I'm choosing to share all of me as a single account, right? As a single kind of person. And so how did you think about that? Because again, it's been very natural with you too, right? It's been just you slowly starting to insert the cold plunges and then the breath work. and all of those little things about you. So what was your reasoning behind it? And then we can talk about with all the burnt out that is going on to hosts in the industry overall.
Yeah. Well, oh, gosh, I always just share what's happening. And I feel like that's where you get someone who's authentic and genuine, and that's when you start building your fans and your audience because they get to know who you are. Like if I only posted about real estate, like how boring would that be? People want to see the bad stuff, honestly. People want to see that, oh, Amanda just like completely hit the freaking bottom and she's in bed for a month, right? That kind of stuff. They don't want to see it, but they saw it. They saw it. And then they saw me bounce back. And they see me bounce back every single time. And because I'm going to bounce back every single time. And I think that comes from something deep inside of me is that I want to inspire people. I want to show people like it's not all rainbows and sunshine. This business is not easy. There's a lot of really shitty days, but you're always going to bounce back if you have the right mindset. And we've talked about this. Life is happening for you, not to you, right? Everything's happening for a reason. That's something that was like engraved in my head with Tony Robbins. And so that's just something that I go back to literally every single day. But I believe 100% share your life and share your why and share just all the things that you think are going to help people. When I say that, let me take a step backwards because there are some people who get on like, "Oh, I have another headache today," or "I'm feeling crappy today." Well, that's coming at it from like a victim mentality. And I'm not saying go do that. Like, don't get on to social media and share about your crappy day because you want someone to feel sorry for you. Get on and share about your crappy day and how you overcame that and how you changed your pattern or you changed your state. And this is what I did to get out of that I was just in. So there's a big difference in that. And I should have went a little bit deeper on that.
Yeah, I gotta say on that topic too, there's a really good TED talk that I listened to. That's by this guy named Mark Roberge. He's the one of the founders of OAR, which is just a band I used to follow when I was younger. And the name of the TED talk is Fans for Life. So he's really, I mean, really, really big band. They traveled around everywhere. And when they first started out, he was like, man, I really struggled with thinking that I had fans. And like, I couldn't have fans, like Pearl Jam has fans. Like, I don't have fans. And then as he started writing more and more songs, he found that people just related to the stories that he was telling, the highs, the lows, like losing a friend, but also graduating and just having like all the different stories that he told through song. That's how he connected with his fans because his fans connected with him because they also went through those same things too. So it's sharing everything. And I think it goes in tandem too with branding and kind of who you are and who you view yourself is the more that you can share with other people your ups, your downs, the more they learn from it and connect with you too, the more they want to work with you and do business with you or hang out with you. Or it doesn't have to be a business thing. It could just be a friendship thing that just makes your life and their life better. It's such a cool when you step out of the comfort zone and get over the fear of like, nobody cares what I think or say or I care what everybody thinks and says. Like, it's really about we don't have much time here. We don't know how long we're going to live. So let's make the best relationships here as possible. And one of the best ways to do that is by just sharing what we're doing with other people and connecting with other people too.
Well said.
That's beautiful.
Yep. 100%. Last parting thoughts. You and I connected on this session that we did for Jody on just how many hosts are getting burnt out. And again, there is the mechanical side of things, right? Like what we teach. Good SOPs, good systems, good people, good processes, a good team of people. And also, there are some people that need some better principles also around taking better care of themselves. And so if you were to put in a little emergency bag all of the things that you would give somebody as a first aid kit to a burnt out host, right? And they could have it in their office and they pull it out and they rip it open Amanda's first aid kit who burnt out hosts. What's in there?
First thing that comes to my mind is like Joe Dispenza meditations. Breathwork. There's Breathwork by, I think it's Sammy. It's a YouTube. He has a bunch of YouTube videos. I think breathwork, meditation, just and those are things that I'm good at. What I'm not good at is like the stillness thinking time. Um, but if you could do that, that will change your world. So okay, so the kit would be the breath work, the meditations. I'm a big believer in what we put into our bodies. And so food, vitamins, just non-chemicals, everything organic, and maybe some really good music. Those are always good. Some good like thinking music or calming music. I also do the brain tap meditations. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but I love brain tap. There's like New Calm. There's some other stuff like that out as well. But anything that's gonna help you get into your subconscious mind and ease your nervous system. So I'm on a journey right now dealing with my nervous system and figuring out like how do you turn it off? Like if you're always in fight or flight, and for me, I'm always in flight, right? I'm like going everywhere until I can actually like sit and like be calm and do my breath work or my meditation. And then I get right back at it. I'm like, okay, go again. But my nervous system, I feel like has been stuck in this fight or flight for years. And what I'm finding, I'm reading a new book right now by Nicole Sachs, and it's Mind Your Body. And it's fascinating because people probably don't know my story, but I've seen over 50 doctors and healers and functional medicine practitioners and like everybody in the last few years. No one could tell me what's wrong with me. I've had the MRIs, I've had everything done. Nothing. I am the picture of a perfect, healthy person, but I am suffering from a lot of crap. And so I have found that it literally is stemming, I think, from the nervous system. And so I'm on this deep dive right now, and I can't wait. Like, ask me in 6 months because I'm going to learn everything I possibly can about this. I truly think that our nervous system is triggering us to think, oh my God, I have a migraine. Oh my God, my back hurts because it's trying to get us away from the trauma that's happened to us that we've pushed down for years and years and years. And we don't want to think about it. And that is like going and it's wreaking havoc on our bodies, honestly. So ask me more in 6 months. But that's the rabbit hole I'm going down right now.
Love it. And we'll love to have you back in 6 months to hear what you do find out. This has been such an enjoyable conversation. I didn't even realize how long we've been going for. So for those that want to connect with you, what is the best way for them to do so?
Honestly, Google Amanda the Traveling Realtor and then take your pick. There's everything on there. I have free master classes and all kinds of free stuff. I do a live master class twice a month. So yeah, just take your pick and you can send me a message on there. Go to my website. Everything's on there. Actually, that's probably the best thing. If you go to my Instagram, Amanda the Traveling Realtor, my link tree is on there, and that has links to everything that I have. That's probably the best thing.
Awesome. And then the last question that we love asking all of our guests is, what is your number one secret to success?
Not quitting mindset. just it is what it is. Change what you can change. Don't spend the time on the things that you can't change. And there's never an I can't. It's always an I can. So you just got to figure out how are you going to make that happen and just go for it.
Love it. That was great. Well, it was super great to finally have you on the show. And I look forward to the next time we get to see each other in one of the conferences.
Me too. Let's do a retreat.
I would love that. That would be
Yeah, we're doing another one after the next Denver event. We're doing another one in Winter Park. So hopefully you can come up for that one.
absolutely perfect. Love it. Awesome, guys. So I hope you guys enjoyed the show. I had a blast. I know Riley did as well. And we look forward to seeing you on the next one.